Solar relates to the sun, and system means a set of things working together as one unit. The solar system is made up of the sun and everything that orbits around it, including all the 8 planets, their moons, and millions of other celestial objects like asteroids and comets and meteoroids. It is believed to be so large that the edge of the solar system is supposed to be 15 billion kilometers from the sun. The sun is a star which holds all the planets in their orbits around itself due to its gravitational pull. It's called Surya or Suraj in Hindi. The diameter of the sun is around 100 times that of the earth, and the mass is more than 1,000,000 times more than the mass of the earth. The sun is not a solid but made of gases going through a nuclear fusion reaction where hydrogen turns into helium, releasing a huge amount of energy in the form of heat and light. The surface of the sun is around 6,000 degrees Celsius, while the core is said to be around 15 million degrees Celsius. It'll be interesting to know how they calculate these kind of temperatures from so far away. The sun is the main source of heat and light for all the planets in the solar system. And if we turned off the sun, you would not see any planet because the light from other stars is too little to illuminate them. It is like holding this torchlight to light up this object from 1 kilometer away. Planets in the solar system. Planets are also called Grah in Hindi. And now let me list out the 8 planets in the solar system, and there are 8, not 9. Starting from the closest to the sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. The 9th one, Pluto, was removed from the list of planets and reclassified as a dwarf planet because scientists found many more Pluto-sized dwarf planets, one even bigger than it, in the same orbit region. This led the scientists to redefine a planet, and in the new definition, Pluto did not figure. All the planets are non-luminous bodies and can only be seen because of the light from the sun. Some planets look bigger than the stars in the night because they are much closer to us than the stars by billions of kilometers. This is how it makes a difference. All the planets revolve around the sun in fixed orbits that are not perfectly circular but elliptical. And they are also orbiting the sun almost in one plane. Each one orbits the sun at different distances, so their orbits never meet, thankfully. Otherwise, imagine if 2 planets collided. 5 of the planets, that's Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, can be seen with the naked eye. They look similar to brighter stars in the night sky. Uranus and Neptune are too far away and need a telescope to see them. Planets can be solid, made of metal and rock, or they could even be made up of gas. The first 4 planets are called the inner planets, and these are all solids, including the Earth, and Earth is the biggest of the inner planet. These inner planets are also low on natural satellites like the Moon. Mercury and Venus in fact have none. Earth has 1 and Mars has 2. The planets beyond Mars are called outer planets, and these are giant planets mainly made of hydrogen and helium gases. They also have rings around them which are formed by belts of asteroids, and these planets also have many natural satellites, Jupiter being the champion with maximum satellites. Chart of planets. I'm going to talk about all the planets using this chart. You can also download the chart from the link in the description. Mercury. It is the smallest planet and it is closest to the sun. Therefore it's extremely hot, with daytime temperatures reaching about 430 degrees Celsius and the nighttime temperatures at minus 173 degrees Celsius. With temperatures like this, it's fairly impossible to sustain life on this planet. It has a rocky terrain covered with craters and has no atmosphere. Since it's so close to the sun, the glare makes it difficult for Mercury to be seen except in the morning before sunrise in the eastern sky or in the evening after sunset in the western sky. And since planets also look more or less like stars, it is also called the morning star or the evening star. Mercury also has phases like the Moon, and this is because it lies within the orbit of the Earth, and that means we see different amounts of light reflecting off it. Mercury has no satellite. It's also called Budh Grah in Hindi, where Grah means planet. Venus is the second planet from the Sun and it is the closest to the Earth, and therefore apart from the Moon, it is the brightest object in the night sky. Earth rotates west to east. Venus rotates clockwise like Uranus. Rest all the planets rotate anti-clockwise. Clockwise rotation is called retrograde and anti-clockwise rotation is called prograde. Venus takes 243 days to make one complete rotation. So that's the length of one day on Venus. But it takes 225 days to make one complete revolution around the Sun. This means that a day on Venus is longer than its full year. Mercury and Venus are the only 2 planets without satellites. Venus is a rocky planet with a dense atmosphere which mostly consists of carbon dioxide. Venus is also the hottest planet in the solar system, where the temperature goes up to 462 degrees Celsius in the day. It's even more hot than Mercury, which is closer to the sun, and that is because of its dense atmosphere that creates greenhouse effect to raise the temperatures even more than the direct heat on Mercury. Venus also has phases like the moon, and this is because it also lies within the orbit of the earth, and that means we see different amounts of light reflecting off it, similar to Mercury. In Hindi, it is called Shukra Grah, Earth. This is our planet, the third rock from the sun, and the only one with perfect conditions for the sustenance of life, and therefore the only one we know on which life does exist. Earth from space appears to be blue and green. Blue because of the reflection of sunlight from the water, which covers 71% of the planet's surface, and green because of the land. The conditions that favor the sustenance of life on Earth are, firstly, the Earth's atmosphere, which is important because it holds the gases required for life, oxygen for humans and animals, and carbon dioxide for photosynthesis in plants. Then there's a layer in the atmosphere which is called the ozone layer, with ozone gas that is vital because it shields the planet from the extremely harmful ultraviolet radiations coming from the sun. Then there are large quantities of water on Earth, and water is the most essential for all forms of life. Also, the temperature range on Earth is not very drastic. In fact, different parts of the planet have different temperature ranges. Some places go up to 60 degrees Celsius while others go to minus 90 degrees Celsius. So essentially you can choose the temperature you want to live in and shift to the mountain or the sea or a desert if you want. The Earth provides all the options. The Earth rotates on its imaginary axis, and it also revolves around the sun. It takes 24 hours to make one full rotation, and this makes it do one complete turnaround in front of the sun, causing night and day within the 24 hours on most parts of the planet, but interestingly not all over the planet. That's because Earth's rotational axis is tilted at 23.4 degrees. And this means that while revolving around the sun, half the time it is facing away from the sun, and the other half the tilt is facing the sun. And this also means that if you live at one of the poles, North Pole or South Pole, then you will get sunlight for almost 6 months of the year and darkness for the next 6 months. This tilted axis also causes the various seasons at different times of the year. Since the rays of the sun are falling perpendicular on the same part of the earth at one point and falling at a steep angle at other times, it heats up the planet differently at different times of the year, causing climate changes and seasons to happen, and the winds to move from one part of the planet to the other. The earth has one beautiful satellite, or the moon. The Hindi name for earth is Prithvi Grah. The Hindi name for moon is Chandra or Chand. Mars is the fourth planet from the sun, and it's called the red planet because its surface appears red. Mars is visible from the earth for most parts of the year, and because it's outside the earth's orbit, we don't see any phases of Mars or that of any planet that's beyond earth. Mars is half the diameter as of earth. It's a rocky and cold planet with a thin atmosphere as well, mostly containing carbon dioxide, but with traces of nitrogen, oxygen, noble gases, and water vapor. The temperature ranges between 35 degrees in the day to about minus 143 in the night. Mars also takes around 24 hours 37 minutes to make one complete rotation, which means the length of the day and night would be similar to that on the Earth. Mars has always been seen as a planet that could sustain life, at least primitive organisms, though nothing has been discovered as such. But now things are surely going to change soon, because two of the world's richest and most influential men have started racing to reach Mars. So the chances are that in our lifetime we might witness human journeys to Mars. Mars has two natural satellites. Mars is called Mangal Grah in Hindi. Jupiter is the fifth and the biggest planet in the solar system. Its diameter is 11 times that of the Earth, while its mass is 318 times the mass of the Earth. If Jupiter was a jar, then you could put around 1300 Earths in it. It is also a very cold planet since it's so far from the sun. And it is also the first of the outer planets that are all made mostly of gases like hydrogen and helium. It appears as a bright star in the sky because it's huge, and also because of its dense atmosphere that reflects a lot of light. This atmosphere is made of ammonia and methane gases, and these are poisonous. Therefore, life would not exist on Jupiter. Jupiter rotates around its axis very fast for its size. It takes only around 9.8 hours to make one complete rotation. 79 satellites have been discovered around Jupiter, where 53 are confirmed and the rest are identified but yet to be confirmed. This is the highest among all planets. A few of these we can see with a regular telescope. It also has some faint rings. Jupiter is called Brihaspati Grah in Hindi. Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun and the second largest planet in the solar system. Saturn is made of gases like hydrogen and helium, much like Jupiter, but it is much less dense. In all the planets, it is the least in density. Saturn stands apart from other planets because of the system of colorful rings that surround it. These are well-defined rings that are made of millions of particles which are made almost entirely of water ice, with a trace component of rocky material. Three distinct sets of Saturn's rings can be seen from the Earth, but with a telescope. The temperature averages around minus 139 degrees Celsius. Saturn has 62 satellites, where 53 are confirmed and the rest are yet to be confirmed. The number of satellites on planets keep increasing as more and more are found using better technologies as time goes by. Saturn in Hindi is called Shani Grah. Uranus. Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun and the third largest planet in the solar system after Jupiter and Saturn. It is also made up of gases like hydrogen and helium and surrounded by an atmosphere of poisonous gases. It can only be seen with a big telescope, and that's why it was the first planet discovered through a telescope. The most unique feature of Uranus is that its axis is so tilted that it seems like it's rolling on its side while it orbits the Sun. It has 27 satellites and also has some rings around it, but not as defined as the ones on Saturn. Uranus in Hindi is called Arun Grah and it's also called Indra Grah. Neptune. This is the eighth and the outermost planet in the solar system. The diameter of Neptune is just about 4 times that of the Earth, and it is so far away that it can be seen as a tiny blue-green speck even by the most powerful telescopes. This was the second planet after Uranus that was discovered through a telescope. It is mainly made of liquid and frozen hydrogen and helium, and the temperatures average minus 200 degrees Celsius. Neptune has 14 satellites. It is called Varun Grah in Hindi. Your book might mention a different number of satellites, but please note that books are printed and then they remain forever. But as technology improves, science keeps adding or revising information. So I suggest do discuss with the teachers about which answers they would expect in the exams. Satellites. A satellite of a planet is a celestial body that revolves around or orbits the planet, similar to how the planet orbits the Sun. The Moon is a natural satellite of the planet Earth and is held in orbit by the gravitational force of the Earth. All other planets excluding Mercury and Venus have satellites or moons. Planets could have other smaller bodies also revolving around them, but they are not considered satellites. But we do consider objects that we send up for communication and other things that revolve around the Earth as artificial satellites. We learned about the Moon in the earlier lesson. So let's move on to the other members of the solar system. And these are called asteroids, comets and meteoroids. And they too revolve around the Sun like the planets, held by the gravity of the Sun in their orbits. Asteroids are small celestial bodies which revolve around the Sun between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. They are millions in numbers and their size ranges from a few hundred meters to hundreds of kilometers. And therefore they are also called mini planets. They are mostly pieces of rock which could not form planets. They also keep colliding against each other and breaking into smaller objects which are called meteoroids. Comets are very small celestial objects which also revolve around the Sun, but these do so in highly elliptical orbits, and that makes them cross paths with many other celestial bodies including planets as well. These are made of gas and dust particles, and they are so small that they can't be seen unless they come close to the Sun, and when they do so, the light from the Sun reflects off the gases and it also lights up the trail of dust particles and it looks like the comet has a tail. This tail gives comets their distinctive feature. The orbits of comets are extremely huge and hence they take a long time to revolve around the Sun. The Halley's Comet takes around 76 years to make one complete revolution of its orbit. It was last spotted in 1986 and watched by thousands. It is just 11 kilometers in diameter, while its tail was calculated at 50 to 100 million kilometers long. As the comet turns around the Sun, the tails of all comets keep pointing away from the Sun. And do you think it's because of a similar reason as we had seen in the cars drifting and sliding around the bend? Comets have some superstitions attached to it, but in reality, their existence and their presence is just as normal as the Moon or the Sun. It's just that they are not seen regularly. Meteoroids, meteors and meteorites. Meteoroids are also celestial objects that revolve around the Sun in their orbits. They are formed by the breaking or disintegration of larger asteroids and comets, and therefore are made of various sizes of rocks that can be as small as a grain of sand or the size of big boulders. These are found all around the solar system, and the orbits can cross paths with other celestial objects. And maybe that's why you have typical craters varying in sizes on most celestial objects like Venus, Mercury, Moon, etc. Maybe that's why the meteoroids crash into them. Meteoroids, meteors and meteorites. are the names given to the same thing in its different stages. They are called meteoroids when they are in space, and they are called meteors once they enter the Earth's atmosphere, and if they land on Earth, the same thing is called a meteorite. Meteors enter the atmosphere at speeds ranging from 40,000 kilometers per hour to even more than 100,000 kilometers per hour. And because of this huge speed, they start burning up and disintegrating due to atmospheric friction, leaving a trail of burning dust. And that also looks like a long tail. This is the reason they are also called shooting stars. Meteors last a fraction of a second to a few seconds at the most because they completely burn out in that much time. More than 3,000 meteors actually reach the ground every year, and these are around a kg or more in mass and made of rocks and metals. Meteorites are of great interest to scientists because their composition can throw light on the composition of other planets and asteroids. There are also what's called meteor showers, and that happens regularly through the year when the Earth moves through the tail of a comet that has already passed us. Artificial satellites. An artificial satellite is a man-made object that is placed in orbit around the Earth. It is taken to space using rockets and then released outside the Earth's atmosphere, but still within the Earth's gravitational field. At the required distance from the Earth, it is pushed sideways, and because there is no friction in space, it keeps moving at the speed it is set at. The Earth's gravity actually holds it in orbit, and it's interesting to know that technically the satellites are falling all the time towards the Earth since gravity is pulling them while the centripetal forces are holding them in orbit. But since the gravity is stronger, after every rotation they are a little bit closer to the ground. These satellites don't just revolve around the Earth, many of them are set at speeds matching that of the Earth, and these are called geosynchronous satellites. And these are generally at 36,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface, and these are set to speeds of around 11,000 kilometers per hour to maintain their position in the sky. So this way an Indian telecommunication satellite would remain over India at all times while the planet rotates on its axis. The main differences between the moon, which is the natural satellite of the Earth, and artificial satellites are that artificial satellites are much smaller and they are much closer, and they can be adjusted for speed and distance. And most importantly, they don't have any gravity of their own to affect the Earth, unlike Moon that affects the tides in the ocean. Artificial satellites always have a specific purpose, and for that it carries the required equipment like telescopes, telecommunication devices, etc. And it's powered by solar cells to convert the sunlight into electricity and is set at the required altitude. Satellites are also used for remote sensing, and that means getting information from far without being in contact with the object. Now the remote sensing technology is so advanced that from thousands of kilometers in space, the cameras can read a number plate of a car. Applications of artificial satellites. They are used for telecommunication and network, like the long distance transmission of television, radio, phones, and the internet. They are also used for weather or meteorological satellites for tracking and forecasting weather, including warning for storms and cyclones. They are used for surveying natural resources on Earth, including water and land resources. A lot of them are used for surveillance and military operations, where communication and actual movement can be tracked by the satellite, which is always looking from above all over the world. They can also be used to collect information of the universe and other celestial bodies, since it's much clearer in space because of the lack of atmosphere. ISRO is Indian Space Research Organization, and that has been very successful in launching and setting up our own satellites. The first one was in 1975 called Aryabhatta. Some of the others are Bhaskara, INSAT, which is Indian National Satellite, IRS, which is Indian Remote Sensing Satellite, EduSat, which is Education Satellite. You can see that we are not very creative with our names. This lesson is extremely long and with many subheadings and sub-subheadings. Therefore, there is no point doing a recap because that will be equally long. So let's move on to the TIY project. For this TIY, I have created this exciting game called Solar Surfing. And this is like a card game on cricket, football, and all other games, except this one is about planets. And whoever I've tried this game with has really enjoyed playing it. So let's see how to make it and how to play it. This poster can be downloaded from the link in the description of the video. You need to print it out on A3 size. Remember, that's double of A4 size. Print it on card paper, and it will be best if you laminate it as well. So if you see on the poster, there are these white lines made. You have to cut along these white lines. And you need to cut along these lines as well. So start from the top line and then cut these lines. cut off this white border as well. You can cut off the white lines as well or leave them, it's up to you. So this is what you will get, 9 cards for 8 planets and 1 sun. Now we cut out the attributes of the planets and the sun. The attributes are numbered so that you can match the numbers on the card. Cut along these lines as shown, and this is what you will get. Put these in an empty dry cup because this will be used for draw of lots. Now for more fun, it's best to have 2 sets so that each person has 1 complete set, and this game can be played by 2 or more people as well. Now mix them up, shuffle them and put the 2 sets upside down. One set will belong to one person and the other to his opponent. To play the game, one person draws one attribute chit. This one says rotation time. It's 7th on the list. The other person decides if the winner will be the higher one or the lower one. So let's decide it's the higher one that wins, and the winner will get 2 points. Let's check number 7 of the left person's card. It is 59 days for Mercury. Mind it, you can pick up only the top cards, so you're playing blind. The person on the right gets Uranus, which takes 17 hours and 14 minutes to rotate. The left person wins. Suppose we had decided it was the lowest rotation time that wins, then the person on the right would have won, obviously. So let's take another attribute, diameter, listed at number 2. Let's decide again the biggest one wins. The left person gets Jupiter with 142,984 kilometers. The right person gets Earth. Jupiter wins. Now also keep in mind that the Sun has some attributes that are not applicable, Na. If you get the Sun card and the attribute is Na, then you lose. And otherwise Sun has many winning attributes. There's a higher level to the game as well. In that, once the round is over, first the winner gets a chance to guess the other person's planet based on the attribute. If the person is right, then they get 1 bonus point. And if wrong, then the opponent gets a chance to make a bonus point by guessing the other person's card. So who wins? He wins. Now he gets a chance to guess his planet.
Mars.
Mars?
Yes.
Yeah? So very good. So now he gets your card also, and he gets an extra point because of that. Yeah? Actually, it's a brand new game and you can make your own rules. And if you do that, remember to share it with me as well. I hope you try the game. I guarantee you that you will enjoy it. And soon you'll know everything there is to know about the solar system. So that's all in this lesson on the solar system and the things we send to space. And why do we need to do that? A part of the answer is in the next lesson. See you there.